Welcome to Truth Report, the show dedicated to peeling back the layers of deception and revealing the unvarnished truth behind the headlines. I'm Alex Truth.
And I'm Maya Clarity. Tonight, we expose the threads connecting seemingly disparate conflicts across the globe, from the courageous, unseen battles in Ukraine to the escalating tensions in the Middle East.
We'll uncover how the fight for power isn't just about geopolitics, but about the literal fight for electricity, the flow of advanced weaponry, and the devastating impact on civilian lives.
We'll examine the ripple effects of U.S. foreign policy, the strategic use of infrastructure as a weapon, and the desperate pleas from leaders caught in the crossfire.
Join us as we connect these critical dots, revealing a complex web of conflict where every decision, every strike, has far-reaching and often tragic consequences for millions. Let's get to the truth. Our first story takes us to Ukraine, where a different kind of frontline battle is being waged. It's not fought with tanks or fighter jets, but with wrenches, wires, and an extraordinary amount of courage.
We're talking about the electrical engineers, the unsung heroes risking their lives daily to keep the lights on and the heat flowing in a nation under relentless attack. Russia's strategy has explicitly targeted Ukraine's power grid since October 2022.
According to a detailed report by IEEE Spectrum, these engineers are literally working under fire, often in areas recently shelled or littered with unexploded ordnance. The risks are immense, from IEDs to active sniper fire.
It's a brutal reality. Imagine trying to repair a high-voltage substation while knowing another missile could strike at any moment. Their job isn't just dangerous, it demands incredible ingenuity.
They've become masters of improvisation, using scavenged parts from old Soviet-era equipment, and even 3D printing custom components to repair damaged switchgear. Time is always critical, forcing rapid, creative solutions.
This isn't just about restoring power, it's about national resilience. Each repair is a defiance of Russia's strategy to break Ukrainian morale and economy by making life unbearable, especially during harsh winters.
The psychological toll on these workers is immense, as the IEEE Spectrum piece highlights. Constant stress, the threat of death, and witnessing widespread destruction contribute to widespread PTSD. Yet, they persevere.
So, who benefits from this grim calculus? Russia, clearly, believes it gains a strategic advantage by disrupting daily life, aiming to undermine civilian support for the war effort and exhaust Ukraine's resources.
But Russia gravely underestimates the resolve of the Ukrainian people. While they suffer unimaginable hardship, their engineers' tenacity turns infrastructure repair into a powerful act of resistance.
Ukraine, in turn, benefits from the international community providing new equipment and aid. However, integrating diverse systems and standards presents its own set of challenges, requiring further adaptive engineering.
This saga exposes how modern warfare has evolved, making civilian infrastructure a prime target. It's a stark reminder that energy supply isn't just a commodity, it's a critical weapon and a symbol of national survival.
It forces Ukraine and its allies to rethink grid resilience, pushing towards decentralized energy systems that are harder to cripple entirely. This unseen energy front is as vital as any battlefield.
Turning our attention to the Middle East, tensions have dramatically escalated with direct military action between the U.S. and Iran. The Pentagon has offered its justification.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, according to Middle East Eye, stated that the aim of the recent American attacks was explicitly to target missiles, presumably belonging to Iran or its proxy forces.
This statement signals a clear intent to degrade Iran's ballistic and cruise missile capabilities, which are central to its regional power projection and its ability to threaten maritime routes.
The context here is crucial. This isn't an isolated event, but a significant escalation following months of drone and missile attacks by Iranian-backed groups on U.S. interests and shipping lanes in the Red Sea.
While the Secretary's statement provides a rationale, the precise locations and specific types of missiles targeted remain less transparent in public discourse, raising questions about the full scope of these operations.
The U.S. benefits by demonstrating its commitment to protecting its assets and allies, and by attempting to deter further aggression. It's a show of force aimed at maintaining regional stability, or at least its version of it.
Iran, however, faces a direct challenge to its military infrastructure. While it might suffer losses, these strikes could also fuel anti-American sentiment within the country, potentially consolidating domestic support for the regime.
The region as a whole loses. Each strike, each retaliation, ratchets up the risk of a wider conflagration, pulling in more actors and further destabilizing an already volatile area, with devastating humanitarian consequences.
This action underscores the U.S. strategy of targeted strikes to counter perceived threats without necessarily deploying large ground forces. It's an attempt to manage escalation while asserting dominance.
But it also highlights the dangers of proxy warfare and the fine line between deterrence and outright conflict. The stated aim to target missiles could easily be interpreted as a direct attack on Iran's strategic deterrent.
The recent US and Iran strikes weren't just about policy, they were a stark display of advanced military technology. Our next story zeroes in on the weaponry used, with surprising global implications.
As reported by the South China Morning Post, the US-Israel attack on Iran, and Tehran's subsequent retaliatory strikes, showcased advanced weaponry from both sides, some used for the first time in this specific context.
Specifically, footage released by the US military confirmed the use of Tomahawk land attack missiles, or TLAMs. These long-range, precision cruise missiles were launched by Arleigh Burke-class destroyers.
The Tomahawk is a cornerstone of US power projection, subsonic, all-weather, and capable of striking targets up to 1,600 kilometers away with pinpoint accuracy, launched from both surface ships and submarines.
What's particularly revealing, according to the SCMP, is that these very same Tomahawk-equipped Arleigh Burke-class destroyers are routinely deployed by the US in the Indo-Pacific region, near China.
This dual deployment sends a powerful message. It demonstrates that the US can project force simultaneously in multiple strategic theaters, utilizing the same cutting-edge assets against different adversaries.
Who benefits here? First, the arms manufacturers, whose products are being validated in real-world combat scenarios. Second, the US, which flexes its technological superiority and strategic reach.
Iran, while suffering losses, also demonstrated its own retaliatory capabilities, even if the specific weapons used in its strikes aren't detailed in this particular report. It attempts to project its own defiance.
But the largest losers are regional populations caught in the crossfire and facing the threat of these sophisticated weapons. The constant display of military might only fuels an already dangerous arms race.
This isn't just about regional conflicts. It's a clear signal to global powers like China, demonstrating US military readiness and the versatility of its weapons systems in deterring potential aggression across vast distances.
The interconnectedness of global conflicts comes into sharp focus with our next report. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has voiced a critical concern regarding the escalating situation in the Middle East.
According to the South China Morning Post, Zelensky explicitly stated that a protracted war in the Middle East could severely impact Ukraine's ability to defend itself against Russia, specifically by reducing the availability of crucial air defenses.
This concern isn't hypothetical. With President Donald Trump's hypothetical return to the White House last year, direct U.S. military aid to Kyiv has all but stopped, as per the SCMP's reporting.
While the U.S. continues to sell weapons, often financed by Ukraine's European allies, this shift from direct aid to sales places a significant burden on other nations and highlights a change in U.S. strategic priorities.
Ukraine desperately needs air defense systems to counter Russia's relentless missile and drone attacks. A diversion of these finite resources to the Middle East could have catastrophic consequences for Kyiv.
Zelensky's recent discussions with German leaders about military assistance underscore this urgent need. European allies are being forced to step up and fill the void left by shifting U.S. policy.
So, who benefits from this grim scenario? Primarily, Russia, which would gain a substantial advantage if Ukraine's air defenses are weakened due to resource reallocation to the Middle East.
Ukraine, undoubtedly, stands to lose critical protection for its cities and infrastructure, making it more vulnerable to aerial assaults and potentially prolonging the conflict on its own soil.
The U.S., under this hypothetical new administration, might benefit from focusing its resources where it perceives its most immediate interests lie, potentially prioritizing Middle East stability over prolonged engagement in Ukraine.
This story starkly illustrates how global power dynamics and domestic political shifts in one nation can have immediate, life-or-death repercussions on battlefields thousands of miles away. It's a zero-sum game for vital resources.
Our final story brings us back to the heart of the Middle East, where the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah in southern Lebanon is intensifying with a dire humanitarian warning.
The Israeli army has issued expulsion orders for 18 Lebanese villages and towns, a move reported by Middle East Eye. This is a significant escalation that carries immense humanitarian consequences.
These orders imply a directive for the civilian populations of these villages to leave their homes, creating an immediate and massive displacement crisis in an already fragile region.
While the Israeli army likely cites security concerns, potentially clearing a buffer zone or preparing for further military operations, the impact on innocent civilians is devastating and immediate.
Families are being forced from their homes, losing their livelihoods, their communities, and their sense of security. This action significantly exacerbates the existing humanitarian crisis in Lebanon.
International law regarding forcible displacement of populations in conflict zones is clear. These orders raise serious questions about compliance and the potential for collective punishment.
Who benefits from these expulsion orders? Israel, from a military standpoint, aims to create a security vacuum, pushing Hezbollah's presence further north and potentially reducing immediate cross-border threats.
However, such actions often backfire, fueling resentment and potentially strengthening Hezbollah's narrative of resistance against perceived Israeli aggression, further entrenching the conflict.
The Lebanese civilians, of course, are the immediate and most profound losers, caught between warring factions, dispossessed, and facing an uncertain future as refugees in their own country.
This move highlights a dangerous trend in modern conflict, the strategic use of civilian displacement as a military tactic. It's a stark reminder of the human cost of escalating border tensions and regional power struggles.
What we've uncovered tonight paints a chilling picture of a world where conflicts are deeply interconnected, and the ripple effects are felt globally.
From the Ukrainian engineers fighting for light, to the Tomahawk missiles deployed simultaneously in the Middle East and near China, the flow of resources and weapons dictates the very survival of nations.
The U.S., a global superpower, finds its aid policies impacting Ukraine's ability to defend itself, while its military might is projected across multiple volatile theaters, each action prompting a reaction.
We see a disturbing pattern. The deliberate targeting of civilian infrastructure and the forced displacement of populations are becoming strategic tools of war, from Ukraine's power grid to Lebanese villages.
These aren't isolated events. They are symptoms of a larger geopolitical struggle for dominance, where the lives of ordinary people are tragically sacrificed on the altar of strategic advantage.
The truth is, these wars are not just about distant battlefields. They are intricately linked to global power dynamics, the arms trade, and the willingness of powerful nations to prioritize their interests over human lives.
We've shown a light on these connections, but the full truth often remains hidden. It's up to us to keep asking the tough questions and demanding accountability.
The courage of those on the front lines, whether engineers in Ukraine or displaced families in Lebanon, reminds us why we must never stop seeking clarity amidst the chaos.
For Truth Report, I'm Alex Truth.
And I'm Maya Clarity. Thank you for joining us. Good night.